Hey everyone, just thought I'd come in with an update on my health. So I have met with a cardiologist and done a tilt table test. That came back normal, but we're still waiting to do the heart monitor, take home heart monitor for 2 weeks to see how my heart does in that amount of time. So far that's good, but waiting to see. Met with my immunologist about the stool sample results, and unfortunately, my body is not producing pancreatic enzymes the way it should be. So I'm now going to be referred to a gastroenterologist to get a CT scan from a pancreas and check and see what's going on there, as well as have been put on temporary pancreatic enzymes to help support my digestive system because I definitely have maldigestion, which means that I'm not digesting food correctly. And I also got diagnosed with Mast Cell Activation Syndrome while I was in that same doctor's visit. Uh, so, so that's something that I pretty much thought I had to begin with, but now I've officially been diagnosed with that. He said that it's mild, so it's not necessarily dangerous, but it does give me daily symptoms that are really, a lot to handle, especially, being tired and having fatigue and brain fog and stuff just from like, my body having a reaction to things. So that's something I'm exploring now. I actually just recently watched a video from someone else who has MCAS, and she tries to do holistic remedies, and she was suggested omega-3 by her doctor. So I'm going to try and do some vegan omega-3s from algae and see how that goes. Um, and I also, since the stool test results didn't come back as strong as the immunologist thought in terms of having a digestive issue, he did suggest that I be referred to someone who can help me be diagnosed with gastroparesis, or at least start that procedure. And unfortunately, um, there is no doctor here who can actually diagnose gastroparesis except for at the Metrodora Clinic, which charges $1,400 out of pocket and is not covered by insurance, most insurances, especially not mine. So I'm being referred to a private clinic, who's also out of pocket but is not Metrodora, and I'm waiting to see what they have to say about the costs for that. Also, I was referred by my ADS doctor a to another doctor named Dr. Kendall, who is going to look into my spine, but he had already mentioned to the assistant during the referral process that he probably wouldn't be able to do anything more than my previous doctor had. So I took it upon myself to do some more research and found a craniocervical spine specialist in Denver who does in-person visits and virtual visits. And that initial consultation is $270, and it is not covered by my insurance. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to acquire the money to be able to see that specialist, because there's no one else here in Utah who can do that. And I have definitely been having issues with my spine for quite some time, and I do feel like it is what's contributing to me having these crashes and not being able to like ride a bike without having symptoms and being out for like an entire day, um, having migraines and loss of like blurry vision and stuff like that. So and also, if I do have craniocervical instability, it is going to be um, causing me all sorts of issues that are not just in my spine. There's a correlation with me having frequent urination, which I've been having for years, um, as well as a bunch of other symptoms, because craniocervical instability can actually compress the vagus nerve, and that's one of the major nerves that run through your spine and send signals to the rest of your body. So really important that I figure that out, because I can actually lay in bed and just like pop my pop my skull back into my spine, um, and that's really terrifying. But also, it's just normal for me because I've been doing that forever, for years. Um, and I've also been seeing my physical therapist. He wants to see me twice a week, but I've been going once a week because I don't have my car up and running yet. waiting for the title to come through on that and also be able to pay for the insurance. So for the meantime, I'm wearing the waist belts for my SI joint, and also doing exercises for the SI joint as well as my ankle. And they basically suggested that I come see them for the foreseeable future. That the issues that I have are chronic and in so many different places that I'll probably be seeing them for over 9 months. Um, so I'm going to basically be on that regimen, um, probably seeing them for life for different issues in my body. So I'm excited to work with them, because I know that, well, the physical therapist that I was referred to is actually in the 16th percentile in the country um, for actually having issues resolved. But that didn't necessarily take into consideration a chronic genetic illness like HEDS. So I'm not sure exactly where it is on that spectrum. But what I do know is that he has definitely been really considerate and helpful and listened to me. And his assistants, who I've been working with, are really knowledgeable in EDS. And my last session with with another one of his assistants actually allowed me to have an emotional release in my hips and in my ribs. So I felt like I was going to a therapy session, even though it was a physical therapy session. And each one of his assistants has a tremendous um, gift to help with different areas in their own way. So I'm really grateful to have that to lean on. And I've also been going to therapy. Well, actually, it's couples therapy with my husband. We decided to start doing that just so we could keep each other accountable and be more on base with being conscious with each other. And she also wanted to see us privately as well. So I've been excited to have that session next week, because I have been, diagnosed with PTSD. And she was saying that the previous therapist diagnosed me with PTSD, but she definitely thinks that I have CPTSD for a number of reasons, not just from like trauma from my family or trauma from my abusive relationship, but also from doctors invalidating me as well. So I'm also getting a care manager to help me with the appointments and with the insurance, because it is quite a lot. It's basically like a part-time job for me to coordinate all of the different doctors, the specialists, the insurance, and the billing, and actually had a really intense back and forth 3 week debacle with my insurance, because their agents had said that things would be covered that they, when I put in the claim, they said weren't covered. And so I had to fight for that. Thankfully they did honor that mishap, but in the future the things that I thought could be covered are not. So at the end of this, I wanted to just kind of put out that I have started a GoFundMe, because the financial costs of all of these specialists and this equipment out of pocket, and the specialists in um, Denver, as well as the equipment like the orthotics that are not covered by my insurance that I have to go to and I've been pushing off multiple times, to get custom braces that will really help me as best as possible. But I also I'm really wanting to get what's called a crossbody braid, which is like basically a stretchy strap that is custom fit for your entire body, so you can literally walk and move in it, and it keeps your joints um, like in their place, so they don't go out of place, and it would help my entire body at once. So I'm really wanting to be able to get that, but that's $250. The all of the medications for MCAS they're holistic. I asked him to give me naturally derived supplements, because all of the ones that are given that are prescriptions, they have a lot of counter interactions and side effects, and I'm very sensitive. So he suggested that we go with natural and holistic. but those are not covered by my insurance. So I'm looking at prescription costs, I'm looking at equipment costs, I'm looking at travel costs for all these specialists. Um, and I am also really, really, really wanting to see someone. She has a clinic called the Wildflower Clinic, and she does virtual consultations, and she is like a master herbalist. And one of my best friends is actually training to become an herbalist, and I also have another friend who is also a master herbalist. So um, they suggested that I go see her because she actually has worked with people with EDS, and I really, really am resonating with natural and holistic methods, just because anything else is not from nature. It has unnatural effects, and that's just my personal perspective, my personal opinion. If I had to do regular medical prescriptions, I would definitely consider it for my health. But if I have a natural and holistic approach, I'm always going to go for that first, because we come from nature, we are nature, and nature is within us. Um, so yeah, I am really asking for your support at this time. I'm on unemployment. That's going to end in a month. I am going to be applying for disability this week, but that takes it takes an initial, I think, 90 days for them to even see the case, and then they can deny it, which 20% of people who apply get approved the first time, and the other 80% do not. So I might be denied after 90 days and then have to appeal and work with a disability lawyer in order to get any sort of assistance, because honestly, me focusing on my health and trying to get my body and myself right. Sorry, I'm just getting emotional. Um, Trying to focus on my body and get my health right, and lean into that's important, and that I should pay attention to that, is something that I have had trouble with, because of being a caretaker for my mom for years, and then being in an abusive relationship. And I've learned, I've now learned that it's important to take care of my physical body as well as my spiritual body. So I started with the emotional, psychological, spiritual aspect, and now I'm really needing to lean into getting my body back to a baseline, to a foundation of health, and there's a lot I have to make up for. So um, if you could please support me in whichever way you can, whether you are sharing this video, whether you are sharing the link to the GoFundMe, or donating, or just sending out good energy, could really help. I set the amount for the GoFundMe for $2,000, and that's to cover pretty much everything I talked about today in this video. Um, and I may end up pushing it further, but I hope not, just because I'm hoping that, my financial situation changes. In the meantime, while I am asking for GoFundMe, please know that I'm not just not, doing anything. I'm actually working on creating courses and content, and a membership, for my spiritual practices and my shamanic practices, as well as for counseling and oracle divination. So I have all of those things available, and I'm setting that website up to be really precise and pristine, and working on the marketing and all that stuff. So this is really not an ongoing thing. I'm hoping this is a means to an end while I'm in a transition of being able to step into that abundance and my calling. So if you are resonating with this video and you want to know more, I will have more videos explaining things as they happen to me, and I will also be sharing with you updates as well, especially after the craniocervical doctor, if I get to see him, the gastroenterologist, the gastroparesis specialist, and hopefully the herbalist. Um, she really has gotten a lot of credibility, and I really want to be able to see her. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to this video. Thank you for listening to me, and I wish you so much love. May you be healed.